Chapter 1. The quiet before the chaos. Russel Towns liked December best when it was quiet. Snow falling in lazy spirals, lights twinkling against the dark, the world pretending to be gentle for a few weeks. From his kitchen window, the cul-de-sac looked like a Christmas card. 7 houses curved around a salted street, each one dressed for the season. Glowing reindeer, inflatable Santas, wreaths big enough to double as hula hoops. His own house was understated, white lights along the eaves, a modest garland on the porch. Amanda had called it classic last year, and Russel had clung to that word like a badge of honor. Inside, the scent of pine mingled with sawdust. The garage was his sanctuary, and tonight it smelled like progress. Russel stood over the half-built bed frame, running his hand along the smooth maple. Drawers finished, headboard sanded, LED strip coiled on the workbench like a sleeping snake. It wasn't just furniture, it was a promise. A surprise for Amanda's 10th birthday. Her own grown-up bed, her own space. He could already see her face when she walked in, wide-eyed and grinning. He checked his watch. 2 hours until pickup. 2 hours until the world narrowed to just the two of them. For days, that was all he got. 4 days every other weekend, and if the calendar gods were kind, a holiday stretch like this one. He hated the math of it. Hated the way time carved his life into fractions. They could take his money, they could take his child, but they couldn't take these moments, these memories. Not from him, not from her. Russel wiped his hands on a rag and stepped into the kitchen. His laptop sat open on the counter, screen glowing with a blinking red icon. Priority alert, coordination suite. He groaned. Work, always work. He was the supernatural world's help desk, rapid response team, and occasional therapist rolled into one. Vampires with zoning complaints, werewolves disputing pack boundaries, elves filing harassment claims because someone called them shorty. He'd heard it all. And now, apparently something urgent. He clicked the icon. A video window popped up, revealing a frantic sprite with peppermint hair and a headset too big for its head. Russel, finally, we've got a situation. The sprite's voice was high-pitched enough to make his teeth ache. Russel reached for his coffee. What is it this time? Santa's sleigh got a flat? Frosty's unionizing. The sprite blinked. Worse, baby New Year is missing. Russel froze mid-sip. Missing? As in the misplaced? Or kidnapped? Gone. Vanished. Poof. The sprite threw up tiny hands. We were celebrating at the North Pole, everything was fine, and then bam. No baby. Russel rubbed his temples. You've got to be kidding me. I wish I was. Without baby New Year, Father Time can't transfer the magic at midnight. If that doesn't happen, time stops, Russel finished grimly. He'd read the protocols. No baby New Year, no continuity. The clock strikes 12 and nothing. Just an eternal December 31st. Great for champagne sales, bad for literally everything else. Exactly. The sprite leaned closer, eyes wide. We need you on this, Russel. You're our best coordinator. Russel glanced at the clock again. 1 hour, 45 minutes until Amanda. I can't, he said. I've got plans. Plans? The sprite sputtered. The universe is about to hit pause. Russel closed the laptop with a snap. Not my problem for the next 4 days. The house was quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the faint strains of Bing Crosby drifting from the living room. Russel leaned against the counter, staring at the dark screen. Baby New Year missing. Time decay imminent. Midnight deadline. He exhaled slowly, pressing his palms to the cool granite. For days, that was all he wanted. For quiet, perfect days. Just him and Amanda. Just laughter and cocoa and the smell of pine. The world could wait, but the world didn't wait. Chapter 2. Amanda arrives. Russel had always believed that the best sound in the world was his daughter's laughter. It was bright and unfiltered, like sunlight breaking through clouds. And right now, it was echoing through his SUV as Amanda sang along, loudly and off-key, to a Christmas playlist that had been looping since they left her mom's driveway. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg, she belted, kicking her boots against the seat in perfect rhythm. Russel grinned, eyes on the road. That's not even the right song. It's better, Amanda declared, pushing her hat back so her curls sprang free. The original is boring. Classic, Russel corrected, but his tone was indulgent. He'd missed this, her chatter, her energy, the way she filled the car with life. For days, he was going to make every second count. Snow flurries danced across the windshield, and Russell's wipers swished in lazy arcs. The cul-de-sac was only 10 minutes away, but he wished the drive were longer. Out here it was just them. No custody schedules, no court orders, no blinking alerts from the supernatural coordination suite. Amanda leaned forward, eyes wide. Dad, look, that house has a giant reindeer on the roof. Russel chuckled. That's not a reindeer. That's a moose. Moose don't have red noses, she shot back. Neither do reindeer, Russel said, but she was already craning her neck for the next spectacle. Every yard was a carnival, lights dripping from eaves, inflatable snowmen swaying like drunken sailors, music boxes chiming carols into the frosty air. It was Clover Hill in full holiday bloom, and Amanda was drinking it in like cocoa with extra marshmallows. By the time they pulled into Russell's driveway, Amanda was practically vibrating. She tumbled out of the SUV before he'd killed the engine, boots crunching on the salted pavement. "Dad, you didn't put up the big wreath," she called, spinning to take in the house. Russell shrugged, hauling her overnight bag from the back seat. "Ran out of time." Amanda planted her hands on her hips. "You had all month." "I had work," Russell said, then softened the words with a smile. "And your bed project." Her eyes lit up. "The bed. Still a surprise," he teased, ushering her toward the porch. "No peeking in the garage." Amanda zipped past him, leaving a trail of laughter. Russell followed, shaking his head. She was a whirlwind, pink coat, striped scarf, boots stomping like a parade. And he loved it. Loved every chaotic second. Inside, the house smelled of cinnamon and pine. Russell had gone all out this year, tree trimmed with glass ornaments, stockings hung by the fireplace, a garland draped along the mantel. Amanda stopped in the living room, eyes wide. "Dad," she whispered. "It's perfect." Russell felt something tighten in his chest. "Glad you like it, kiddo." She turned, grinning. "I love it." For a moment, the world was quiet. Just the glow of the tree lights and Amanda's smile. Russell wanted to freeze it, bottle it, keep it for the days when the house felt too big and too empty. "Okay," Amanda announced, breaking the spell. "First order of business. Hot chocolate." Russell laughed. "Bossy. Efficient," she corrected, tossing her hat onto the couch. "Extra marshmallows. And whipped cream. And sprinkles." "Sprinkles?" Russell raised a brow. "You're pushing it." Amanda grinned. "You love it." He did. More than she'd ever know. They settled at the kitchen island. Mugs steaming, marshmallows bobbing like tiny white boats. Amanda swung her legs, talking a mile a minute about school, friends, and the Christmas play where she'd been cast as tree number 3. "Not even tree number 1? Russell teased. "Tree number 1 had lines," Amanda said solemnly. "I just stood there." Russell chuckled. "Bet you were the best tree they ever had." Amanda beamed. "Obviously." She spooned cocoa foam into her mouth, then leaned forward conspiratorially. "Mom says you work for the government." Russell blinked. "Does she?" Amanda nodded. "She says you're like a secret agent." Russell laughed so hard he nearly spilled his drink. "Sweetheart, I'm not a secret agent." "Then what do you do?" Amanda pressed. "You never talk about it." Russell hesitated. "How did you explain supernatural crisis management to a 9-year-old?" "I help people," he said finally. "When things go wrong." Amanda narrowed her eyes. "Like Batman?" "Not like Batman," Russell said, smiling. "More like customer service." Amanda wrinkled her nose. "That's boring." Russell grinned. "You'd be surprised." Later, while she unpacked her things in the guest room, soon to be her redesigned kingdom, Russell slipped into the garage. The bed frame waited, silent and unfinished. He ran a hand over the smooth wood, imagining Amanda curled up with a book, fairy lights twinkling overhead. He'd make it perfect. He had to. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Russell frowned, pulling it out. Priority alert. Baby New Year still missing. Time decay imminent. He stared at the screen, jaw tightening. Not now. Not tonight. He shoved the phone back into his pocket and returned to the house, where Amanda was humming carols and arranging her stuffed animals in a neat row. For now, the universe could wait. But the universe didn't wait. At 11:03 p.m., after Amanda had fallen asleep with a smile on her face and cocoa stains on her pajamas, Russell sat in the living room, laptop open. The alert pulsed like a heartbeat. Critical. Midnight deadline approaching. Without Baby New Year, time ends. Russell closed his eyes, exhaling slowly. For days, that was all he wanted. For quiet, perfect days. But the clock was ticking, and not just for him. Chapter 3. The call that changes everything. Russell stared at the blinking alert on his laptop like it was a ticking bomb. Critical emergency. Baby New Year still missing. Time decay imminent. Midnight was less than 24 hours away, and if the message was right, the universe was about to hit pause. Permanently. He rubbed his face with both hands, groaning into his palms. He'd promised himself, promised Amanda, that this weekend would be theirs. No work, no interruptions, just cocoa, carols, and Christmas magic. But apparently, the cosmos hadn't gotten the memo. The laptop chimed again, and before Russell could close the lid, the screen filled with a face, or rather, a face and a lot of peppermint-colored hair. The sprite from earlier was back, headset askew, eyes wide with panic. "Russell, thank the stars. You didn't log off." The sprite's voice was shrill enough to make Russell wince. "I was about to," Russell said flatly. "Family time. Family time? Family time." The sprite flailed so hard its headset nearly flew off. "Do you understand what's happening? Midnight is the deadline. If Father Time can't pass the torch to Baby New Year, the whole system collapses. No time, no progress, just eternal December 31st. Russell leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. Sounds like a dream for retail stores. This is serious. The sprite's peppermint curls quivered. We've got Mother Nature in tears, Father Time threatening to retire early, and the elves, don't even get me started on the elves. They spiked the eggnog. Russell. Spiked it. The North Pole is a disaster zone. Russell pinched the bridge of his nose. Why me? You've got a whole department for this. They're all on site, the sprite wailed. We need remote coordination. Someone who can manage the chaos, track leads, and keep the big players from strangling each other. That's you. Russell glanced toward the hallway. Amanda's door was closed, a soft glow spilling from beneath it. She was probably reading, humming carols under her breath. His chest tightened. For days, that was all he wanted. I can't leave, Russell said firmly. I've got my daughter. You don't have to leave, the sprite said quickly. Just help us from here. Monitor channels, direct search teams, keep the timeline stable. Please, Russell. If we fail, time ends. No birthdays, no holidays, no weekends with Amanda. Ever. Russell froze. No weekends with Amanda. Ever. The words hit like a punch to the gut. He exhaled slowly. Fine, he said. I'll help. But only while she's asleep. The sprite sagged with relief. Bless you. I'll patch you into the main feed. Wait, Russell said, holding up a hand. Start from the top. How does a baby go missing at the North Pole? The sprite grimaced. It was the New Year's Eve pre-party. Big celebration. Mother Nature and Father Time were supposed to be watching the baby. But someone spiked their eggnog. Russell raised an eyebrow. Seriously? Seriously? The sprite said, voice dropping to a whisper. 1 minute they're debating youth and beauty. The next Father Time is flirting shamelessly. While they were distracted, baby New Year wandered off toward Cupid's lounge. Russell blinked. Cupid has a lounge? Of course, the sprite said, as if that were obvious. Cherubs, cocktails, questionable karaoke. Anyway, somewhere between Mother Nature and Cupid, the baby vanished. We've searched everywhere, nursery, stables, even the snow globe vault. Nothing. Russell sighed. So you want me to, what? Play detective. Exactly. The sprite beamed. You're good at this. Calm under pressure. Logical. And you don't drink eggnog. Russell snorted. Lucky me. For the next hour, Russell sat hunched over his laptop, juggling video feeds and chat windows like a supernatural air traffic controller. The North Pole looked like a holiday war zone. Elves sprinting through candy cane corridors, reindeer on high alert, Mother Nature pacing in a gown of swirling frost. Father Time sat slumped in a chair, muttering about kids these days while clutching an empty mug. Russell kept his voice level, issuing orders like a seasoned pro. Check Cupid's lounge again. Interview the cherubs. Sweep the stables for footprints. And someone get Mother Nature a glass of water before she floods the place. Through it all, Amanda slept peacefully down the hall, oblivious to the fact that her dad was coordinating a cosmic rescue mission. At 12:47 a.m., Russell closed his laptop and leaned back, exhausted. No baby, no solid leads, just chaos wrapped in tinsel. He rubbed his eyes, promising himself he'd figure it out tomorrow, after cocoa and Christmas crafts and maybe a snowball fight. He owed Amanda that much. But as he stood to turn off the lights, a thought struck him like a snowball to the face. Cupid's lounge. Cherubs. Mischief. If baby New Year had wandered in there, it wasn't lost. It was hiding. And if cherubs were involved, things were about to get complicated. Russell groaned. Tomorrow was going to be hell. Chapter 4. Cupid's complication. Russell woke to the smell of cinnamon and the sound of Amanda humming in the kitchen. For one blissful moment, he forgot about missing babies and cosmic deadlines. He stretched, yawned, and padded down the hall, following the tune. Amanda stood on a chair, stirring pancake batter with the intensity of a master chef. Her curls bounced as she worked, and her pink pajamas were dusted with flour like festive snow. Morning, Dad, she chirped. I'm making breakfast. Russell blinked at the chaos. Eggshells on the counter, syrup bottle uncapped, a suspicious trail of chocolate chips leading to the sink. Looks like you're making a mess. Amanda grinned. Mess is part of the magic. Russell chuckled, grabbing a spatula. Scoot over, chef. They cooked together, laughing as batter splattered and pancakes flipped like acrobats. For a while, it was perfect. Warm kitchen, golden light, the world outside muffled by snow. Russell wanted to freeze it, keep it safe from the storm brewing in his inbox. But the storm didn't wait. His phone buzzed just as Amanda was drowning her pancakes in syrup. Russell glanced at the screen and groaned. Urgent. Cupid confirms contact with baby New Year. Status unknown. Amanda noticed his frown. Work? Russell hesitated. Sort of. She tilted her head. You said no work this weekend. I know, Russell said, forcing a smile. Just something important. Amanda narrowed her eyes. Important like saving the world? Russell laughed a little too quickly. Not exactly. Amanda shrugged and went back to her pancakes. But Russell felt the weight of her curiosity like a shadow. He slipped into the living room, phone pressed to his ear. Talk, he said. The sprite's voice crackled through the line. We've got a lead. Cupid admitted Baby New Year wandered into his lounge last night. Russell pinched the bridge of his nose. And he lost track, the sprite said miserably. There was karaoke, cherubs everywhere. Someone sang Love Shack, and things got chaotic. Russell closed his eyes. So the baby's still missing. Not missing, the sprite said quickly. Just misplaced. Russell groaned. That's the same thing. Not technically, the sprite chirped. Anyway, we need you to coordinate a sweep of Cupid's lounge. And maybe talk to Cupid. Russell frowned. Why me? Because Cupid likes you, the sprite said. Something about your tragic romantic aura. Russell stared at the ceiling. I hate my life. He spent the next hour juggling calls, directing elves to search velvet booths and mistletoe alcoves. Cupid's lounge looked like a Valentine's Day fever dream. Pink lights, heart-shaped furniture, cherubs fluttering like caffeinated pigeons. Russell kept his voice calm, issuing orders while Amanda built a snow fort in the yard, oblivious to the cosmic drama unfolding behind the scenes. Or so he thought. Dad! Amanda's voice startled him. She stood in the doorway, cheeks flushed from the cold, snow clinging to her boots. Who's Cupid? Russell froze, phone halfway to his ear. What? You said Cupid like 3 times, Amanda said, eyes bright with curiosity. Is that your boss? Russell scrambled for an answer. Sort of. Amanda grinned. Cool name. Does he shoot arrows? Russell forced a laugh. Not at work. Amanda tilted her head. You're acting weird. Russell sighed, setting the phone down. Sweetheart, it's just complicated. Amanda crossed her arms. You always say that. Russell crouched to meet her gaze. I promise after this call, it's just us. Snow forts. Coco. Maybe a movie. Amanda studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, but you owe me extra marshmallows. Russell smiled. Deal. When she left, Russell grabbed the phone again. All right, he said. Tell Cupid I'm coming. There was a pause. Coming where? The sprite asked nervously. Russell stared at the blinking cursor on his laptop. The North Pole. Chapter 5. A neighborly twist. Russell had just finished shoveling the driveway when he heard the crunch of boots on snow behind him. He turned, expecting Amanda with another snowball ambush, but instead found himself staring at a woman carrying a plate of cookies and wearing the kind of smile that could thaw ice. Hi, she said, breath puffing in the cold. You must be Russell. Russell blinked, caught off guard. Yeah, that's me. She shifted the plate in her gloved hands. I'm Harper. Just moved into the blue house on the corner. Russell glanced past her to the cul-de-sac, where the blue house stood like a jewel among the holiday lights. Welcome to the neighborhood, he said, trying not to sound like he'd forgotten how to talk to adults who weren't elves or sprites. Harper smiled, holding out the plate. Thought I'd introduce myself the old-fashioned way. Sugar cookies. With actual sugar. Russell chuckled, taking the plate. Thanks. Amanda's going to love these. Your daughter? Harper asked, eyes bright. Russell nodded. 9 going on 19. Harper laughed, a warm sound that curled through the winter air. Sounds fun. Fun, Russell said dryly. And exhausting. Amanda chose that moment to burst out the front door, cheeks pink, snow in her hair. Dad, you promised snow fort time. She skidded to a stop when she saw Harper. Her eyes widened, then narrowed in the way only a child plotting something could manage. Hi, Amanda said sweetly. Who are you? I'm Harper, she said, crouching to Amanda's level. Your new neighbor. Amanda's grin was pure mischief. Do you like Christmas? Love it, Harper said. Do you like Coco? Absolutely. Amanda's eyes sparkled. Do you like my dad? Russell nearly choked on air. Amanda. Harper laughed, cheeks flushing. I think your dad seems nice. Amanda beamed. He is. He makes the best pancakes. And he builds stuff. Like beds. And he's single. Russell groaned. Amanda. Amanda shrugged. What? It's true. Harper's smile softened. Sounds like you've got a pretty great dad. Amanda nodded solemnly. The best. Russell cleared his throat, desperate to change the subject. So, how's the move going? Harper straightened, brushing snow from her coat. Chaotic. Boxes everywhere. I'm still looking for my coffee maker. Russell winced. That's rough. Harper grinned. Survival level low. Amanda clapped her hands. You should come over for Coco. We have marshmallows. And sprinkles. Russell opened his mouth to protest, but Harper beat him to it. That sounds amazing. If you're sure. Amanda nodded vigorously. Totally sure. Russell sighed. Looks like you're having Coco. Inside, the house was warm and bright, the tree casting a soft glow over the living room. Harper perched on the edge of the couch while Amanda darted around like a hostess on a sugar rush. Russell handed Harper a mug. Careful. Extra marshmallows. Perfect, Harper said, wrapping her hands around the cup. This place is cozy. Russell shrugged. I try. Amanda plopped down beside Harper, grinning. Dad built the bed in the garage. It's a surprise for my birthday. Russell shot her a look. Amanda. What? Amanda said innocently. She's practically family now. Harper laughed, and Russell felt something shift, something warm and unfamiliar. It had been a long time since laughter like that filled his house. For a while it was easy. Cocoa, cookies, conversation that didn't involve cosmic emergencies. Russell almost forgot about the blinking alerts waiting on his laptop. Almost. But when Harper left, promising to return with a plate of brownies, as a peace offering for the marshmallow theft, Russell stood in the doorway, watching her disappear into the snowy night. Amanda leaned against the wall, smirking. You like her, she said. Russell shook his head. Amanda, you do? Amanda sang, skipping down the hall. Dad and Harper, sitting in a tree. Russell groaned, closing the door. He had bigger problems than his daughter playing matchmaker. Like a missing baby New Year and a deadline that could end time itself. Chapter 6. The search intensifies. Russell had never hated a blinking cursor more in his life. It pulsed on his laptop like a heartbeat, mocking him with every flash. Critical. Baby New Year still unaccounted for. Time decay accelerating. He sat at the kitchen table, fingers curled around a mug of coffee gone cold. Outside, snow fell in lazy spirals, frosting the cul-de-sac in white. Inside, Amanda was sprawled on the living room rug, coloring a picture of a snowman with sunglasses and a surfboard. Russell watched her for a moment, chest tightening. She looked so happy, humming carols under her breath, oblivious to the fact that the universe was teetering on the edge of collapse. He wanted to keep it that way, wanted to give her 4 perfect days, no interruptions, no chaos, just Christmas magic. But the world didn't care what Russell wanted. His phone buzzed. He didn't need to look to know who it was. Talk, he said, pressing it to his ear. The sprite's voice was frantic. Russell, we've got a problem. Russell snorted. You mean the same problem we had last night? Worse, the sprite squeaked. Father Time is deteriorating faster than expected. His magic is leaking. We've got temporal glitches all over the map. Clocks freezing, countdown stalling, champagne bottles refusing to pop. Russell rubbed his temples. Champagne bottles. Truly catastrophic. This isn't funny, the sprite wailed. If we don't find Baby New Year soon, midnight will hit and nothing. Just an endless loop of December 31st. Russell glanced at Amanda, who was now adding glitter to her snowman's sunglasses. I can't leave, he said quietly. She's here. It's our weekend. You don't have to leave, the sprite said quickly. Not yet, but we need more than remote coordination. We need boots on the ground. Someone who can talk to Cupid, interrogate the cherubs, and… Russell cut in. You want me to go to the North Pole? Yes, the sprite squealed. You're the only one who can keep this from turning into a cosmic disaster. Russell closed his eyes. I can't just disappear on her. Bring her, the sprite said. Russell blinked. What? Bring Amanda, the sprite repeated. The North Pole is safe. Mostly. And she'll love it. Snow, reindeer, candy cane fountains. It's practically Disneyland with frostbite. Russell stared at the wall. Bring Amanda. To the North Pole. To a supernatural crisis zone. Every instinct screamed no. But then Amanda laughed. A bright, bubbling sound that made his heart ache. And Russell knew he was out of options. He found her in the living room. Glitter everywhere. Grinning like a Christmas elf. Hey, kiddo, Russell said, crouching beside her. How do you feel about an adventure? Amanda's eyes lit up. Like, a snowball fight? Bigger, Russell said. Way bigger. Amanda tilted her head. How big? Russell hesitated, then smiled. North Pole big. Amanda gasped. The North Pole? Like Santa? Russell chuckled. Exactly like Santa. Amanda squealed, launching herself into his arms. Yes, yes, yes. Russell hugged her tight, heart pounding. He was about to drag his daughter into a supernatural mess that could end time itself. But at least she'd be smiling. Packing was chaos. Amanda insisted on bringing half her stuffed animals, 3 scarves, and a notebook for clues. Russell threw winter gear into a duffel, muttering under his breath about cosmic emergencies and custody agreements. Halfway through, Amanda popped her head into the garage. Dad. Russell looked up from the bed frame. Yeah. Is this part of your secret agent job? Russell froze, then grinned. Something like that. Amanda's eyes sparkled. Cool. By noon, they were ready. Russell stood in the driveway, duffel slung over his shoulder, Amanda bouncing beside him like a caffeinated elf. Okay, Russell said, pulling out his phone. Hold my hand. Amanda grabbed his hand eagerly. Are we taking a plane? Russell smirked. Not exactly. The sprite's voice crackled through the speaker. Portal ready? Russell sighed. Do it. The air shimmered, snow swirling into a vortex of light. Amanda gasped as the cul-de-sac dissolved into a whirl of frost and color. Dad, she whispered, eyes wide. This is awesome. Russell squeezed her hand. Hang on, kiddo. And then they were gone. The North Pole hit like a snowball to the face, Cold, bright, and buzzing with chaos. Elves sprinted through candy cane corridors. Reindeer pranced nervously. And somewhere in the distance, someone was singing Auld Lang Syne off-key. Amanda clutched Russell's arm, eyes huge. Dad, this is real. Russell nodded grimly. Too real. Chapter 7. Welcome to the North Pole. The world reassembled in a burst of color and frost. Russell staggered as his boots hit solid ground, snow crunching beneath him like brittle glass. The air was sharp and sweet, tinged with peppermint and something electric. Overhead, the sky shimmered in ribbons of green and gold, auroras dancing like silk in the wind. Amanda clung to his arm, eyes wide as saucers. Dad, she whispered, breath puffing in the cold. This is amazing. Russell followed her gaze. The North Pole wasn't just a place, it was a spectacle. Towers of ice spiraled into the sky, glittering like crystal chandeliers. Candy cane lampposts lined cobblestone streets, their stripes glowing faintly. Elves zipped past in a blur of green and red, arms full of scrolls and mugs of steaming cocoa. Reindeer pranced in a fenced paddock, antlers strung with fairy lights. And in the distance, a massive clock tower loomed, its hands twitching erratically as if time itself were nervous. Russell muttered under his breath. Yeah, amazing. Amanda spun in a circle, boots kicking up snow. It's like a Christmas movie. Where's Santa? Can we see him? Russell crouched, gripping her shoulders gently. Sweetheart, listen. This isn't a vacation. There's a problem. Amanda tilted her head. Like, work. Russell hesitated. Big work. Amanda's eyes narrowed. Secret agent work? Russell sighed. Something like that. Before Amanda could press further, a voice rang out behind them. Russel Towns. You made it. Russell turned to see the sprite from his video calls barreling toward him, peppermint curls bouncing, headset still perched on its tiny head, skidded to a stop, panting. Thank the stars, the sprite gasped. We're in full meltdown mode. Father Time's magic is leaking faster than eggnog at an elf party. Amanda blinked. Is that a fairy? The sprite puffed up indignantly. Sprite, thank you very much. Fairies are drama queens. Amanda grinned. You're cute. Russell groaned. Focus. Where's Cupid? The sprite winced. In the lounge. Still entertaining. Russell muttered a curse under his breath. Of course he is. They wove through the chaos, Amanda clutching Russell's hand like a lifeline. Everywhere she looked, magic shimmered. Elves juggling snowballs that never melted, gingerbread houses steaming like fresh-baked dreams. A sleigh parked outside a candy shop with reindeer pawing impatiently. Amanda's voice was hushed with awe. Dad, this is real. Russell squeezed her hand. Too real. The lounge was a fever dream of pink and gold. Heart-shaped chandeliers dangled from the ceiling, casting rosy light over velvet booths. Cherubs fluttered everywhere, wings dusted with glitter, giggling as they strummed tiny harps. In the center of it all lounged Cupid himself, bare-chested, smug, and sipping something neon from a martini glass. Russell stopped dead. You've got to be kidding me. Cupid spotted him and grinned, teeth dazzling. Russell, my man. Long time no see. Russell scowled. Cut the charm. Where's the baby? Cupid spread his hands. Relax. Little guy was here last night. Adorable. Big eyes, chubby cheeks. Total heartbreaker. Russell's jaw tightened. And now? Cupid shrugged. Gone. Probably wandered off. Kids, you know? Russell stepped closer, voice low. If we don't find him, midnight hits and time ends. Cupid waved a hand lazily. Details, details. Have a drink. Russell resisted the urge to strangle him. I need names. Who was here? Cupid leaned back, smirking. Cherubs, elves. Mother Nature stopped by for karaoke. Oh, and his grin widened. Your tragic romantic aura is killing me, Russ. You should mingle. Russell blinked. What? Cupid winked. You've got that brooding single dad vibe. Women eat that up. Russell groaned. I hate my life. Amanda tugged his sleeve. Dad. Russell crouched. Yeah, kiddo? Amanda held up her notebook, where she'd scrawled a list in glitter pen. Clues, suspects, motive. She grinned. We're detectives now. Russell stared at her, then laughed. Because what else could he do? Guess we are. As they left the lounge, Russell felt the weight of the clock tower looming over the horizon. Midnight was coming. Time was unraveling. And he had a 9-year-old sidekick armed with glitter pens. Perfect. Chapter 8. Clues and Chemistry. Russell had never thought he'd be interrogating cherubs in a heart-shaped booth, while his daughter scribbled notes in glitter pen. But here he was. The lounge buzzed with chaos. Harp music clashing with off-key karaoke, elves arguing over eggnog recipes, and Cupid lounging like a smug cat in a sunbeam. Amanda perched on the edge of the booth, legs swinging, notebook open. Okay, she said, tapping her pen like a detective in a crime drama. Who saw the baby last? The cherub nearest her blinked, cheeks pink and wings twitching. After karaoke? Maybe near the chocolate fountain? Russell groaned. Chocolate fountain. Of course. Amanda scribbled furiously. Clue number 1. Chocolate. Russell leaned back, rubbing his temples. Midnight was creeping closer, and all they had were vague memories and sticky fingerprints. He opened his mouth to ask another question when the lounge doors swung open, and the last person he expected walked in. Harper. Russell froze. Harper stood framed in the doorway, snowflakes clinging to her coat, eyes wide as she took in the glittering chaos. Behind her, an elf struggled with a tray of neon cocktails, muttering about holiday overtime. Russell shot to his feet. Harper. Her gaze snapped to him. Confusion etched across her face. Russell? What is this? Russell's brain scrambled for an explanation. Team-building exercise? Harper raised an eyebrow. With cherubs. Amanda waved cheerfully. Hi, Harper. Welcome to the North Pole. Harper blinked. The North Pole. Russell sighed. Okay. So, funny story. 10 minutes later, Harper sat across from him in a velvet booth, hands wrapped around a mug of cocoa that had appeared courtesy of a very enthusiastic elf. Amanda was still scribbling clues, oblivious to the tension crackling between the adults. Harper shook her head slowly. You weren't kidding about the secret agent thing. Russell winced. It's not. Okay, maybe a little. Harper laughed, a warm sound that curled through the frosty air. So let me get this straight. You coordinate magical beings. Russell nodded reluctantly. Pretty much. And right now you're trying to find baby New Year. Russell sighed. Before midnight, or time ends. Harper stared at him for a long moment, then grinned. You know, most guys just say they're busy with work. Russell groaned. I hate my life. Amanda popped up, waving her notebook. Clue number 2. Glitter footprints near the stables. Russell frowned. Glitter. Amanda nodded solemnly. Lots of it. Harper leaned in, eyes sparkling. Sounds like a lead. Russell blinked. You're helping. Harper shrugged. Why not? I'm already here. And honestly, her smile softened. You look like you could use backup. Russell stared at her, something warm flickering in his chest. It had been a long time since anyone offered to stand in his corner. Longer still since someone made him laugh in the middle of a crisis. Thanks, he said quietly. Harper smiled. Anytime. They headed for the stables, Amanda skipping ahead like a pint-sized detective, Harper walking beside Russell. Snow crunched underfoot, and the air smelled of peppermint and pine. For a moment, Russell almost forgot about the ticking clock, the cosmic stakes. Almost. Harper nudged him gently. So, tragic romantic aura, huh? Russell groaned. Cupid talks too much. Harper laughed, and Russell found himself smiling despite everything. At the stables, Amanda crouched over a trail of glitter, eyes bright. See? Footprints. Tiny ones. Russell knelt beside her, scanning the ground. She was right. Glittery prints leading toward the reindeer paddock. Harper peered over his shoulder. Looks like your baby's on the move. Russell exhaled slowly. Let's hope we're not too late. Above them, the clock tower chimed, its hands twitching like nervous fingers. Midnight was coming, and Russell had never felt the weight of time so heavy. Chapter 9. Race against midnight. The North Pole clock tower loomed like a frozen sentinel, its hands twitching erratically against a sky streaked with auroras. Midnight was less than 2 hours away, and Russell felt every second like a weight pressing on his chest. Glitter footprints sparkled in the snow, leading toward the reindeer paddock. Amanda crouched low, tracing the trail with her mittened finger, her breath puffing in frosty clouds. See? She said, voice hushed with excitement. They go under the fence. Russell squinted. She was right. The prince slipped through a gap in the candy cane rails, vanishing into the paddock where reindeer pawed nervously at the snow. Harper stood beside him, coat dusted with frost, eyes bright despite the cold. If baby New Year's in there, we need to move fast. Russell nodded grimly. Before midnight turns into forever. Amanda straightened, clutching her notebook like a badge. Operation Glitter Trail is a go. Russell almost smiled, but the clock tower chimed, a hollow sound that made his stomach twist. Time was unraveling and he was running out of it. They slipped into the paddock, snow crunching underfoot. Reindeer snorted, antlers strung with fairy lights that flickered like nervous stars. Russell scanned the shadows, heart pounding. Baby New Year, Amanda called softly, voice carrying through the frosty air. We're here to help. No answer. Just the creak of the fence and the distant hum of chaos from the lounge. Russell crouched, brushing snow aside. More glitter. Tiny prints looping toward the stables, then veering off toward a row of gingerbread cottages. Great, Russell muttered. The kids on a sugar crawl. Harper grinned despite the tension. Smart kid. Russell shot her a look. Not helping. They followed the trail through a maze of candy cane lampposts and peppermint fences, Amanda skipping ahead like a pint-sized detective. Her cheeks were pink, eyes bright, and Russell felt a pang. She was loving this. Loving the adventure, the magic. And he was terrified. Because if they failed, this wasn't just about losing baby New Year. It was about losing everything: birthdays, holidays, weekends with Amanda. Time itself. The trail ended at a snow globe vault, a towering structure of glass domes stacked like shimmering bubbles. Inside, snow swirled endlessly around miniature scenes. Skating ponds, toy workshops, frozen forests. Amanda pressed her nose to the glass. "Dad, look." Russell followed her gaze and froze. In the largest globe, nestled among frosted trees, sat a tiny figure with chubby cheeks and a golden rattle. Baby New Year. Safe. Smiling. Completely oblivious to the cosmic meltdown outside. Russell exhaled, relief flooding his chest. "We found him." Harper grinned. "Now how do we get him out?" Russell's stomach sank. The vault was sealed with temporal locks, magic keyed to Father Time himself. And Father Time was currently slumped in a chair, leaking magic like a busted faucet. "Of course," Russell muttered. "Nothing's easy." Amanda tugged his sleeve. "Dad, look closer." Russell frowned, leaning in. The baby wasn't alone. Glitter clung to the trees, sparkling like frost. And perched on a branch was a cherub, wings twitching, harp slung across its back. Amanda's voice was calm, certain. "He didn't wander off. He was taken." Russell stared at her, pride and dread tangling in his chest. His kid had cracked the case. "Clue number 3, Amanda whispered, scribbling in her notebook. "Motive, mischief." Russell straightened, jaw set. "All right, let's get our baby and our cherub." Above them, the clock tower chimed again, louder this time. Midnight was coming, and Russell was done playing nice. Chapter 10. The big reveal. The snow globe vault shimmered like a frozen cathedral, its glass domes glowing under the aurora-streaked sky. Inside the largest globe, Baby New Year sat among frosted trees, chubby fingers clutching a golden rattle, cheeks rosy with mischief. Beside him, a cherub perched smugly on a branch, glitter dusting its wings like stardust. Russell stared through the glass, jaw tight. "We've got our culprit." Harper crossed her arms, eyes narrowing. "So what now?" "Break the glass." Russell shook his head. "Temporal locks. Only Father Time can open it." Amanda tugged his sleeve, notebook clutched in her mittened hands. "Then we need Father Time." Russell grimaced. "He's barely holding it together." Amanda's eyes sparkled. "Then we help him." Russell blinked. "Sweetheart, this isn't—" "Dad?" Amanda said firmly, sounding older than 9. "You always say we make memories, right? This is one." Russell stared at her, heart twisting. She was fearless, brilliant, his kid. "Okay," he said softly. "Let's make it count." They found Father Time slumped in a chair near the clock tower, robe sagging, hourglass cracked and leaking golden sand. Mother Nature hovered beside him, wringing her frost-laced hands. "He's fading," she whispered, voice like wind through bare branches. "The transfer must happen soon." Russell crouched, gripping the old man's shoulder. "We need you to open the vault." Father Time's eyes fluttered open, clouded with exhaustion. "Too weak," he rasped. "Magic slipping." Amanda stepped forward, chin high. "Then use mine." Russell's head snapped up. "Amanda!" She held out her hands, small and steady. "You said memories matter. I've got lots." Father Time studied her, something ancient flickering in his gaze. "Pure intent," he murmured. "Strong enough to bridge." Russell's stomach nodded. "Is this safe?" Mother Nature's smile was gentle. "Safer than doing nothing." Russell swallowed hard, then nodded. "Okay, kiddo. Let's save time." Amanda knelt beside Father Time, her mittened hands resting on the cracked hourglass. Golden sand shimmered, swirling toward her fingers like sunlight drawn to warmth. The air hummed, charged with magic and memory. Snow forts, cocoa, laughter echoing through quiet rooms. Russell held his breath as the vault doors groaned open, glass domes trembling. Inside, the cherub squawked, wings flaring, but Harper was faster, snatching it mid-flight with a grin that could melt glaciers. "Gotcha," she said, holding the squirming cherub like a misbehaving puppy. Russell lunged for the globe, scooping Baby New Year into his arms. The child giggled, rattle chiming like tiny bells, oblivious to the cosmic drama. Above them, the clock tower chimed, deep, resonant, final. Midnight. Russell's heart stuttered. Then the light broke. Golden magic surged from Father Time to Baby New Year, spilling across the snow in ribbons of brilliance. The hourglass sealed, the clock hands stilled, and the world exhaled. A long, shuddering breath as time stitched itself whole. Russell sagged, clutching the baby, relief flooding his chest. "We did it." Amanda grinned, cheeks glowing. "We saved the world." Harper laughed, brushing glitter from her coat. "Not bad for a Saturday." Russell looked at her, something warm sparking in his chest. "Not bad at all." As elves cheered and Mother Nature dabbed at her eyes with a snowflake, Russell glanced at Amanda, his fearless, brilliant kid, and felt the truth settle deep. They could take his money. They could take his weekends. But they could never take this. Not from him. Not from her. Chapter 11. Home for Christmas. The portal shimmered shut behind them, leaving Russell and Amanda standing in their snow-dusted driveway like nothing had happened, like they hadn't just saved time itself. The cul-de-sac was quiet, Christmas lights twinkling against the dark, wreaths swaying gently in the winter breeze. Normal. Ordinary. Perfect. Amanda clutched her notebook, glitter smudged across her cheeks, eyes still bright with adventure. Dad, she whispered, voice hushed with awe. We were heroes. Russell smiled, heart swelling. Yeah, kiddo. We were. She grinned, then yawned so wide he could see every marshmallow she'd eaten that day. Russell chuckled, scooping her up. Bedtime. Amanda snuggled against his shoulder, murmuring, best Christmas ever. Russell carried her inside, the warmth of the house wrapping around them like a blanket. The tree glowed softly in the corner, stockings hanging in neat rows. For the first time in days, Russell felt the weight lift, the ticking clock gone, the chaos behind him. Just home. Just them. He tucked Amanda into her old bed, brushing curls from her forehead. She was asleep before he finished humming the first verse of Silent Night. Russell stood there for a long moment, watching her breathe, memorizing the curve of her smile even in dreams. Then he slipped into the garage. The bed frame gleamed under the work light, drawers polished, headboard wired with LEDs ready to glow in every color Amanda could imagine. Russell ran his hand over the smooth wood, pride and relief tangling in his chest. Tomorrow he'd finish it. Tomorrow he'd give her the surprise he'd been planning for months. A piece of normal after a week of impossible. He was tightening the last bolt when a knock sounded at the door. Russell frowned, wiping his hands on a rag. He opened the door and froze. Harper stood on the porch, cheeks pink from the cold, a plate of brownies balanced in her gloved hands. Snowflakes clung to her hair like tiny stars. Peace offering, she said, smiling, for dragging me into whatever that was. Russell laughed, the sound rough but real. You handled it better than most. Harper shrugged, stepping inside. I've had worse Saturdays. Russell raised an eyebrow. Really? She grinned. Okay, maybe not. They sat at the kitchen island, cocoa steaming between them, laughter curling through the quiet house. Amanda's soft snores drifted from down the hall, and Russell felt something he hadn't felt in years, a sense of possibility, of hope. Harper nudged his mug with hers. So, what happens now? Russell met her gaze, heart steady for the first time in days. Now? He smiled. Now we make memories. Outside, snow fell in gentle spirals, blanketing the world in white. Inside, Russell felt the truth settle deep. They could take his money. They could take his weekends. But they could never take this, these moments, this laughter, this fragile, perfect peace. Not from him. Not from her. Chapter 12. A new beginning. Morning light spilled through the kitchen window, soft and golden, painting the counters in warmth. Russell stood at the stove flipping pancakes, the scent of butter and cinnamon curling through the air. Amanda sat at the island, chin propped on her hands, watching him with a grin that was equal parts smug and sleepy. You're humming, she said. Russell blinked. What? Amanda smirked. You only hum when you're happy. Russell chuckled, sliding a pancake onto her plate. Maybe I'm just in the Christmas spirit. Amanda raised an eyebrow. Or maybe you like Harper. Russell groaned. Amanda, don't Amanda me, she said, stabbing her pancake with a fork. You smiled at her like, a lot. Russell shook his head, fighting a laugh. Eat your breakfast. Amanda grinned, victorious. You like her. The knock came just as Russell was pouring syrup. He froze, heart skipping, then wiped his hands and opened the door. Harper stood there, cheeks pink from the cold, a gift bag dangling from her wrist. Snowflakes clung to her hair like tiny stars, and her smile was warm enough to melt every one of them. Morning, she said. I brought something. Russell stepped aside, pulse quickening. Come in. Amanda squealed from the kitchen. Harper. Harper laughed, setting the bag on the counter. Just a little thank you for, saving time. Russell peeked inside, homemade ornaments, each one glittering with care. His chest tightened. You didn't have to. Harper shrugged. I wanted to. Amanda leaned over the bag, eyes wide. These are awesome. Russell smiled, something soft and unfamiliar blooming in his chest. Stay for breakfast? Harper hesitated, then nodded. I'd love to. They ate together, laughter curling through the kitchen like steam. Amanda chattered about snow forts and secret agent adventures. Harper listened with genuine delight, and Russell felt the edges of his world soften, like frost melting under sunlight. When Amanda darted off to change into her detective outfit, which apparently involved glitter and a cape, Harper lingered by the tree, fingers brushing a glass ornament. She's incredible, Harper said quietly. Russell nodded, throat tight. She's everything. Harper turned, eyes meeting his. And you? You're a good dad. Russell swallowed hard. I try. Harper smiled, and Russell felt something shift, something he hadn't felt in years. Possibility. Hope. A future that didn't feel so empty. Amanda reappeared, cape fluttering, grinning like a conspirator. So, Harper's staying for Christmas, right? Russell blinked. Amanda. Harper laughed, cheeks flushing. We'll see. Amanda smirked. We'll totally see. Russell groaned, but he was smiling. Really smiling. Outside, snow fell in gentle spirals, blanketing the world in white. Inside, Russell felt the truth settle deep. Life wasn't perfect. It was messy, unpredictable, full of cosmic emergencies and glitter trails. But it was also laughter and pancakes and second chances. And maybe, just maybe, love. Chapter 13. Epilogue. Time marches on. Russell's laptop chimed softly, the sound almost lost beneath the hum of his workshop heater. He glanced at the screen. Another routine alert from the coordination suite. Nothing urgent. Nothing world-ending. Just a reminder that life and time were moving forward. He leaned back in his chair, wiping sawdust from his hands. The bed was finished now. Sleek, modern, drawers polished, headboard glowing with soft LED light. Amanda had seen it that morning, her gasp echoing like music through the house. She'd run her fingers over the smooth wood, eyes wide, and whispered, "It's perfect." Russell had swallowed hard, because in that moment, nothing else mattered. Now, the house was quiet except for the faint strains of Bing Crosby drifting from the living room. Amanda was curled up on the couch, cape abandoned, coloring book open, humming under her breath. Harper sat beside her, laughing at something Amanda said, her smile warm and easy. Russell watched them from the doorway, heart steady for the first time in years. He thought about the past week, the chaos, the glitter trails, the ticking clock, about how close they'd come to losing everything, and about how, in the middle of all that madness, he'd found something he didn't know he was missing: hope, a second chance, a future that didn't feel so empty. Russell stepped into the room, sinking onto the couch beside them. Amanda grinned, leaning against his shoulder. Harper's hand brushed his, light as snow, and Russell didn't pull away. Outside, snow fell in gentle spirals, blanketing the cul-de-sac in white. Inside, laughter curled through the warm air, soft and bright. Time marched on. But for Russell, for Amanda, for Harper, it felt like a gift. They could take his money, they could take his weekends, but they could never take these moments, this love, this fragile, perfect peace. Not from him, not from her.